Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be working on the final 5 prompts for my childhood documented album. So if you haven't watched the videos yet, I will leave a link to the playlist below. But I created a prompt list that I shared on Instagram. I'll also link that below if you want to take a look. And it has 20 prompts to document your childhood. Mine is 90s theme, so it is a little specific, but you are very welcome to interpret that any way that you want or create your own. I've actually had a couple of my friends on Instagram make their own lists that were like 80s theme, which I think is so cool. And I'm just excited that people are wanting to document their childhood in this way, and I cannot wait to see people's projects. So definitely create your own, do your own thing if these don't quite work for you, or pick and choose or whatever. I would love to see everyone's, and I'm telling you, it was a really fun project. So I think that you would really like doing it if you just start looking online and seeing what you can find. So let's dive right into these. So once again, I'm using the Color Study collection from Vicki Boutin for all of my papers, and all of my stamps are 3 different stamp sets from Heidi Swapp. So for this first prompt, I am doing Blockbuster night. So of course that is just favorite movies, right? But I wanted it to be kind of 90s theme, so I called it Blockbuster night just to take you back to those days. So I had a lot of movies, and it was really hard for me to narrow it down once I started to think of like these iconic movies that I loved as a child. So I won't list all of them, but you can see below, or you can see here some of them that I picked out. Definitely Babysitter's Club was huge for me. Harriet the Spy, Grease. I think like every 90s kid just watched Grease like all the time. I don't know. That was like on at my house constantly, and I loved the soundtrack. I also have Mrs. Doubtfire in there. Now and Then, It Takes Two, Jumanji. I mean, there's so many movies once I started looking and thinking about them to add, but I just printed these off at just a 1" by 1" square so that I could fit a lot of movies. So I think I have about 16 movies there, but I feel like whenever you print them off small and have them kind of in a nice clean grid look, it doesn't really matter if you have a lot on there, because it's not like crazy for your eye to look at or anything. So I really like the way that that turned out. And then of course I added my journaling and my title, and then I am just sprinkling on all kinds of fun. Before I turned the camera on, I went ahead and used 2 of my stars punches and punched out a lot of stars just in different like pieces of paper that I had, like little scrap pieces, so I would have those handy and ready to go. And then of course I have some of my sticker stash that's right here that I thought would work out well, like all of the smiley faces and all of that fun stuff. And then as I've been doing throughout, I am outlining all of the stars with my white jelly roll pen just so that they will pop. So like I said, these are the last 5 pages in this Heidi Swapp Storyline Chapters mini album. So this thing is like chunky, it will not close, and it is like very, very full. So I normally, before I use things like traveler's notebooks or stuff like that, I always take some of the pages out, because I just find that they always end up like this. They're just like so full, and I don't personally love that. But I was trying to change it up. I wanted to use the Heidi Swapp album. So I counted all the pages before I started, and I knew for the 20 prompts, I was actually not even going to have enough pages. So I had to make 2 of the prompts 1 page each, and I had to use the back, like the back cover, inside back cover, as one of my pages. So you'll see that as we go. But anyway, the thing is full, is what my point is. So just be aware of that if you decide to use one of these. But so for the next prompt, it was 90s sidekick. So whenever I made this one, I was just thinking about all of kind of the classic sidekicks that you have from Disney movies and things like that. Like the first one I thought of was Abu from Aladdin. I remember I loved Abu as a kid. I thought he was so funny. He would make like hilarious little like facial faces, and he was so cute. I just loved Boo. And then also, if you think about like Pikachu from Pokemon, or I'm sure there's like a million different, sidekicks from different Disney movies, Flounder from The Little Mermaid, or, we could go on forever. But the one that I ended up settling on is Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So, like I've said before, Sabrina, I adored Melissa Joan Hart in general. So I loved her in Clarissa, and I also loved her in Sabrina. I remember I had the Sabrina Barbie doll, and it had a little magnetic hand, and so it would move like she was casting a spell. And of course, it had a tiny little Salem. And I love, to this day, I mean, I follow an Instagram account that has like all of these funny sayings from Salem, and he's just like hilarious. So I screenshot 3 of the stills from the show where it has the writing underneath it, so you could see like what he was saying, and put those on the one side, and then of course did my same type of thing over here. I feel like I'm just an assembly line. I have everything ready to go before I turn the camera on with the stamp title, anything that I punched out, like the circles. I have my stickers over here, my journaling's ready to go. So I think that you get the idea of what I'm doing over here. But yeah, Salem is hilarious. I would love to hear who would be your 90s sidekick. Like, who would you pick to be your sidekick, or who is your favorite? I would love it if you would leave that, or it doesn't have to be 90s, just like your favorite kind of like show sidekick. I'm so interested to hear that. Yeah, I love Salem. So if you are a fan of Salem, please let me know too. And if you haven't seen Sabrina, like, he's actually a riot. So anyway, I really like the way that this layout turned out. For this one, I used the same paper and just continued it throughout both pages. A lot of times I have chosen 2 different patterns that kind of complemented. So for this one, I kept it kind of simple. I love how the pictures, I printed those off at a 2x3, and I like how they're just right down the middle of that page. And as you'll notice, since this book was so big, I don't know if I said this, I'm working completely outside of the notebook. So I just prepare everything on the piece of paper, and then I'm just adhering it down into the Traveler's Notebook, or Heidi Swap Storyline Chapters Notebook, whenever I am finished. So even though it's really big, that's one good thing about like Traveler's Notebooks, is that you can kind of work outside of it and then just adhere it down at the end. So works for me. So the next prompt was games. So I thought this one's really broad. Of course, a lot of people love video games. A lot of people might have liked things like Pokemon, or, played Zelda, or different things like that. For me, as I said in my journaling here, I was never a video game kid. My dad got me like a secondhand Nintendo. I think it was just a regular Nintendo, but someone at his work was like, upgrading or whatever. So he bought that for me, and I played it a handful of times, but I was just never into video games as a child or an adult. And I was never like a crazy big board game person either. I mean, I had a few, but it wasn't like something I was just like obsessed with. But one thing that I loved was Pogs. And if you aren't familiar with Pogs, what the premise was, okay, you had these little, so the large photo on the side, those are all the Pogs, right? I just found that picture online. But they're like little cardboard circles, and they have all kinds of different designs on them. You can get them for different TV shows, or like you see the Diet Coke, the Sprite ones, whatever. I would get them at Walmart and at the dollar store and just like everywhere. And you would play with your friends, so you would have to like ante up like a certain amount at the beginning. I don't remember how many, let's say 3 or 5 or something, but they would be turned upside down so you couldn't see which ones they were. And then you had a slammer, which was like this big piece of metal that was also circular, or maybe it was kind of spiked or something. I don't know, you'll have to Google it. But you would basically have a tower of the Pogs stacked up on top of each other, and then you would hit the slammer on them, and then whichever one's turned over to the correct side, like to the pretty side, you would get to keep those. So it was kind of like you were gambling. You'd put up kind of the ones that you didn't care about, and then you're hoping to get something good back. So I hope I explained that decently, but man, that was like such a thing of my childhood. I always stayed like at a babysitter's house after school, and I would ride the bus over there, and that was something we would always play. We would like play Pogs. I remember we would bet other stuff too, like posters out of our like Tiger Beat and Word Up magazines and stuff. I remember I won a TLC poster off of someone one time, so lots of fond memories of that. But yeah, so I love doing the full size photo, and I really like the way that one turned out. Then for the next prompt, it was 90s role model. So for all of these, role model, fashion icon, best friend, these were kind of hard because there's so many options, and I was having to try to put people into the one that I thought they best fit into. So for 90s role model, I went back and forth on this one for a while, and I was like, who am I going to choose, And even though possibly Stephanie Tanner wouldn't have been, like I would maybe want Clarissa more, but I already used her for fashion icon, which I thought she fit better into that mold. So I thought 90s role model all around. I thought Stephanie Tanner. So if you were a Full House fan, you'll definitely know Stephanie. She was the middle child, and I always just loved her. I think I'm definitely more Mary Kate and Ashley's age, but I think we're like right around the same age. But Stephanie was always kind of like that cool older sister, not quite like up to DJ's level of being like way older than me, but Stephanie was like right at that age group. And I remember really loving her as a kid. I was a huge Mary Kate and Ashley fan too, like huge. For a really long time. I had like all their books and their movies and all of that. But I did love Stephanie, and I had a lot of these Full House books, and I also like definitely named a couple baby dolls, a couple Barbie dolls Stephanie in honor of her. So I thought she would be a good role model, the all-American kind of kid next door type vibe. So yeah, I went with that. And for the photo, I thought that it would be fun to print off one of the book covers as like a full size picture. So I really liked the way that looked. And I love the way all of the stamping and the title worked out for this one. So some of them I included the title like 90s role model, so I would remember like why Stephanie was on here. And then I love that the Honey and Spice Alpha stamp in the middle where I stamped out Stephanie Tanner. I love that stamp set, and so I just think that looks really good. Of course, I have my journaling. I've added the stars and the stickers, and I'll outline them as always. But I really this one looks so nice to me, like it's like a magazine or something. So I really like the way this one turned out, and it was really fun to do. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this series. I am sad to see it go. We only have one more prompt here, and that's it. But I will do a flip through, and I think that will go up like next week. So I know that you've watched all the videos, but still you can see it all come together, which I think is always fun. And yeah, I really love it. I have it sitting out on my shelf in my craft room, and I love looking through it, and it's just really pretty, vibrant colors and everything. So it just looks cute kind of sitting out in my room, front and center and everything. So, and then for the last prompt that we'll be doing today, I'm pretty sure we're on the last one, is, shopping spree. So for this one, I know we already did toys, but I thought you could interpret this in so many ways, however you wanted to. But I just went onto Google, and I just had a free-for-all and printed off a lot of pictures of toys. I may have had some of it, like obviously I had Gak from, like the slime kind of stuff, Nickelodeon slime. And I had several of these toys, but also like a Talk Boy, or like all of the Spice Girls Barbies, or the clear telephone, things like that I always wanted. I included those on the list as well. And whenever I first was starting, I had printed off one of these iconic Lisa Frank ad photos where, the brown-headed girl is Mila Kunis. And I thought maybe I could incorporate that, but you'll see I kind of moved things around a little bit, but I really just couldn't make that picture work. And instead of forcing it, I just said, I'm not going to worry about it. And I didn't end up using it. So maybe I'll throw it in like in my junk journal or something. But, I didn't want it to get too busy or too muddled up with stuff. So I decided not to use it. But Once again, I have stamped out my title, Shopping Spree, and I'm going to put it inside of the circle. I really love the circles, the punched out circles for the titles, and you'll notice that I backed all of them on the black paper, which I just really love the way that that looks. And my last 5 prompts, I didn't realize till I had like already completed everything that I didn't do any of the titles in circles, which is fine. They don't have to be, but it's just funny because I think I just completely forgot about it. And then this time every title was in a circle. So, whatever, it balances out. But yeah, so I just thought that it would be fun to do shopping sprees. I just remember as a kid, like watching Nickelodeon or different, channels like that, and they would have like win a Nickelodeon, Toys R Us shopping spree where you could like run through the aisles and grab whatever you wanted, or like on Double Dare or something, and they would win all of these awesome prizes. So I thought that it would just be kind of fun to do a page about that. So you will notice as I go, I'm going to adhere down my journaling and add a couple little things, but I come back to this page to finish all my sprinkling up at the end. But you'll notice that right now, this side of the page, I had all of the toys just kind of like in my normal little grid pattern, but I really wasn't loving it because some of the squares were different sizes. They didn't line up perfectly. As I was cutting them, they all had a white background, so it was hard to get the squares like the perfect size because I'm just like a free-for-all cutter, and it just didn't look that great. So I thought, well, you know what, for shopping spree, and since this is the last page in my album, maybe I'll do kind of like a fun explosion kind of vibe. So what I ended up doing was I took some of the larger stars and I adhered them down on the piece of paper, and you'll see that I just outlined all of them with the with the white marker. And then I am going to freestyle cut out all of the toys, and I'm just adding them in, like not in a square form. I just kind of like fussy cut them out. And then I'm adding a few other stars kind of like off the page, and I will add some of the smaller ones in there as well just to fill up some of the spots. But I really like the way that this looks. I feel like it's kind of more fun since all of the other ones were kind of in like a grid pattern or just like very clean squares. I thought that this one was kind of fun, and this is the very, very last page in the book. So it's kind of like a party or something. So then I add in a few of these little sparkly star stickers just to fill in some of the gaps. And then I will go back over to the shopping spree page, and I'm going to, add in the finishing touches and the last little stickers and stuff. So yeah, so that's going to be it for all of these prompts. I'm just, I've had so much fun doing this, and I really loved that. I've gotten a lot of good feedback about it, and I feel like, your childhood, whether you had whatever type of childhood, I hope that you got to experience some fun pop culture stuff. And it's fun to relive some of that, relive toys and TV shows, and just when time was so easy, and just some of those fun things from your childhood. So I definitely recommend, just getting you a little traveler's notebook or something, and just kind of like Googling and just having fun. Create a little book of it, because it really is a good time, and you can't help but smile when you look through this album or relive some of those memories. So once again, I definitely invite you to create your own in any way that that you would like to, and definitely let me know. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. My handle over there is Leilani_scraps. And yeah, definitely tag me in anything or DM me and let me know if you are planning on, doing this project for yourself. But this one I thought just needed a little bit more sprinkling, but that is going to be it. So I will show you up close of everything. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, and please also consider subscribing. And I will be back at you with the flip through soon and more videos. Thanks, guys. Bye.